Hello YouTube. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we can take this task off the board. The helmets and the jackets have arrived. The bad news is when we torqued the wheels on the last time, the aluminum spacers squished up against the studs and now I can't get the wheels off. So we have to remove the rear wheels. And I've tried a whole bunch of stuff already, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to destroy the wheel to get the wheel off. I've done the jacket up and hit the sidewall with a sledgehammer. I've driven it around in circles trying to break it loose. I've got penetrating oil on it. Nothing worked. Desperate measures for desperate times. I've tried everything. I've not seen this recommended anywhere. Haven't even seen it suggested anywhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat around each stud, and hopefully I can expand the aluminum enough to get the wheel to come off. And it'd be nice if I could do it without destroying the wheel, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Here goes nothing. Let's try that. Oh, I see it move. It moved. I'm going to hit from behind this time. Well. After much struggling, I did get the wheels off. It took a while. I turned the camera off because it was just taking so long. So unfortunately, I don't have a shot of the tire coming off. But I can show you what the problem was. What you're looking at is a close-up of the end of the axle and the studs. And the problem we had is we couldn't get the wheel off of the studs. And it turns out that there are 2 spacers that go on each wheel. You got a thin one that goes down into the wheel, and another one that goes on, and then a nut that goes on top of that. Well, that's great. The only problem is the inner one doesn't fit onto the stud, and that's what got stuck. So we have to fix that. The outer one is fine. It's just the inner one. So we got to figure out a way of widening those holes on all of them. These spacers need to be able to accommodate a 5/8 inch stud. So I'm going to drill them out to 11/16, which is a 1/16 inch larger than the 5/8, or a 32nd inch larger on each side. And these are not the locators of the tire. The rims themselves locate the tire on the wheel. So these do not locate the tire, and I don't worry about the 1/32nd of an inch. So here we go. Now let's go try it to make sure it fits. And now it should just slip right on, and it does. Not much give there at all, and it does slide on. So let's go do the rest of them. To finish the job on the inside of these spacers, we'll put a little bevel on it so they slide on easy. And now we have a nice little bevel. And the next problem with these spacers are they're too wide. They're a press fit into the wheel, and I believe that that's the way they were from the beginning. If I measure one of the fat ones, we have 1.192 as a dimension. And if we measure one of these little ones, we have 1.219. So we have to take off a little bit on the circumference of each one of these spacers. I got a nice bolt here. It's a 1/2 inch, it's not 5/8, so it doesn't fit real well. But if I take a nut and tighten it down onto the bolt, take the aluminum spacer and tighten it down with a second nut, it centers itself on the nut and we'll tighten it down so it's tight and centered. So now with the spacer clamped into the bolt, what we'll do is put it against the grinder at a slight angle so that we're grinding as it turns. And we'll check our measurement. We have it set to 1.92, which is the measurement of the big spacer. So we want this to fit over this spacer. We're not there yet, so now we need to grind a little bit more. And we have a pass. It fits. Now we'll put a little bevel on the edges. A spacer that has the right dimension for the stud and the outside dimension of the large spacer, and I hope we solved our problem. These drums were originally powder coated gloss black. And when we heated the wheels to get the wheels off, everywhere where the spoke was not was bleached white, and you could see it. So I sanded the drums down and I re-powder coated them. Now, one of the disadvantages of powder is it has thickness, and you got to be aware of it. So these are the stud holes, which now have a coat of powder in, and we've got to clean that powder out, otherwise the drum is going to stick to the studs. So the way I clean them out is just by taking a little drum and I'll check it with a flashlight, and all the powder is gone. Now we have to take care of this overspray that's on the inside of the drum where the centerpiece is for the axle. Otherwise, that could be an interference. With the center cleaned up and the holes cleaned up, we're ready to go to the car. We'll put a little anti-seize on the studs this time and smear it around. We'll take some anti-seize and we'll put it around the center ring here so it won't get stuck. And we'll spread that around. And now we'll slide the drum on and hopefully it'll come back off. All right, it's on. Comes off after a fashion. I guess that's not too bad. We'll put a little dab of anti-seize on the threads. Because of all the cooking I did, the anti-seize that was there is probably gone. You saw that I applied a lot of heat to the center of these wheels to get them off. And the only real damage is to the paint that was on there. So what I'm going to try to do is paint them so that they come up looking close to what they did. I wasn't able to find argent. This is like a dark argent. Wasn't able to find it. I'm going to actually use primer just to get by. I did take them over and have them balanced and checked for true. Got them back, and one of the tires doesn't have any weights on it at all. And I suspect it did not get balanced. But the one that did get balanced, the one that has weights on it, is true. So I'm going to believe that the other one is true also, and we're just going to paint it up and they can rebalance it. This is the back side of the tire. I always spray the back side first. That way the good side gets a nice wet coat and then the overspray is on the back side. I'm not going to spray this surface here where the rim bolts up to the brake drum because I don't want to get stuck to the brake drum. So I'm just going to paint where you might see, and I'm not going to go any further on the back. I found a half a can of darker gray paint that I think is a closer match to the wheels that are on the car, but I've only got about a half a can, so I think I'm only going to get one coat out of it. So I'm going to have to do this in one coat. This is what the wheels look like with all the tape removed. I think it came out all right. We have enough to put together one side, and I think it's time we test our theory that we've solved the problem. We know that the drum goes on and comes off. So put the drum on. The next thing is the little ring now fits over the stud where it didn't before, and the big ring fits over the stud. The little ring fits into the recess in the wheel. The wheel goes on, the wheel comes off. The wheel goes on. We'll put the 5 little spacers in. If you look carefully, you can see that all the little spacers are now sitting down inside the groove of the wheel where they belong, and the wheel still comes off. This first time I'm just going to run the nuts up with my little impact. Now the question is, will it come off? Yes, it does. It comes off. Now, this time, we'll torque it to 55. We'll go to 55. And it's 55. "50 foot-pounds and it's still loose. It'll still come off. Now, we'll try 85. Here we go, 85. That's 85 all the way around. Nothing's bound. Let's take it off and see if it comes off. And yes, it comes off. What a relief. Now all we have to do is get the other tire balanced and mounted, and we're completely done with this project. Let's go to the board. I believe we can delete this task of removing the rear wheels, because not only have we removed the rear wheels, I think we've solved the problem. I can't check the weight on the rear wheels yet, because I think one of them wasn't balanced. And we have to have it balanced and checked for true. I think it will be true based on the other wheel. Hood pins have been ordered. So we're making progress. This one has not reoccurred. See this hole right here? When it blocked the light? That's the holes we want to plug. That's a task that's on the board. And we can remove that task by filling that hole with some caulk. We'll continue. 1 down, 6 to go. I think we'll work on the transmission safety blanket next. Let's see what one looks like. It's thick. It's not very wide though. All right, let's put it in. This is the blanket and the straps spread out. And these straps go forward to bell housing bolts. And what you have to do is put it in a buckle, and you run your bell housing bolt through there. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. These straps go around the transmission. This is the top, so it goes like this. And these straps go underneath and get buckled into these buckles just like a normal safety belt. Like so. Let me show you how to do this buckle. This is our bracket for the bolt that goes into the bell housing, and this is the buckle. And the first thing you do is take the strap, go through the buckle, take your bracket, pull the belt through the bracket, and now you go back through on top, like that, then down through the bottom, like that, and then we come back around and go back through the front loop one more time, and that's how you do the buckle for the front. It's going to be next to impossible to show you this under the car. But the blanket goes around like that. This is the top. These two straps go to the two top bolts on the bell housing like that. I'm going to turn it upside down. So the top is on the bottom, and what happens on the bottom of the transmission is it gets wrapped like this, and then the strap comes across and goes through just like a safety belt. Then we pull that tight, and it's installed. So now let's go do it on the car. This belt gets put together just like a safety belt. You go through the back, put the strap down through the front, pull it out, and now it won't come out. As you can see, there's really not much I can show you other than I have to shove this blanket over the top of the transmission. With the transmission blanket installed, now we're down to 4. The future driver of this car wants a rear view mirror, so we'll put the original one back in. I cleaned it up, and we're getting close now. All right, let's tighten it up. One installed rear view mirror. All right, looks pretty good. So that looks like a center line, and we'll put the fire extinguisher on top of that. Fire extinguisher, where'd that come from? Well, we need it to go down the track, so we're going to put one in. I know it's not on the list. Unfortunately, it's required. We hit a hole right there. Holes to drill, and then we're done. right, nice and solid. This is what it looks like from the driver's seat. I'm just back from having this tire checked. This is the tire that didn't have any weights on it. And in fact, it had not been balanced and had not been checked for true. It is true. And it is balanced. So we have 2 good wheels, 2 good tires for the back of the car. I think that we have accomplished our goal for this week. We knocked off a bunch of tasks on the list. We avoided a catastrophe. If you enjoyed this video, there will be more.